all, thank you so much for tuning in to this week's episode of the Enemy Podcast. Obviously, this is Alicia, and I am so excited because I have one of the best people on the planet back on the podcast, at Max. Hey,
Woohoo.
what's happening? And if you all have not had the opportunity to listen to Kat's first episode, go back and listen to episode 101. It is such an amazing conversation she and I had. And please take the time to listen to that episode 101. Kat, I am so glad you're back here. Like, you have the best energy. You glow and you just bring so much inspiration. So thank you so much for being back here on the podcast.
Thank you for having me. I am very delighted. And I was just telling you that I would do this for free because I love you so much. And your energy feels good and feels spacious. You feel like the kind of people that I want to continually surround myself with because you are high vibe.
Oh, I love that. Thank you. Thank you. And it's so funny because I really do try to surround myself and incorporate as much energy into my life. So I love when people actually see it because sometimes I wonder, I'm like, am I just out here just like, rah? I don't know. So thank you for the recognition.
That's the thing. Like I watch a lot of content with other people like cheering us on, right? And that's the thing. When we are getting more and more free in our lives, what it means is we are being more and more our authentic self, and our authentic resonance will really respond. People will respond to it that have that similar resonance, right? Like,
Mhm.
not for me, I am not for everyone, but the people who are looking for me will
Mm.
find I am the most authentic me. I'm easier to find.
I love that. And it's so funny because that's exactly what I wanted to talk about. I'm glad you just kind of brought us right on into this whole idea of just being free.
Yeah.
And I know for some people, you're like, what does this mean? Like, this idea of feeling free, living free, and just, showing it in a way that other people would think, okay, what are you doing? Because I need to know something about that. So for those who don't follow Kat on Instagram, definitely take the time to do that. Your name on Instagram, is it still
Max is free. Cat Max is free.
Kat Max is free?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. So for those who are not following Kat at this time, please follow her on Instagram for so many reasons. One, because she's amazing, and two, she has so many inspiring posts. She's an artist. I mean, listen, once you start following, you'll understand what I'm talking about. And one thing you also know that what we're talking about is this whole idea of free, her living free, and just sharing that with the world. So walk us through this. What
Yeah.
started this whole idea of living in this idea of just freedom?
Yeah. Well, some things happened in my earlier life. Early in my life, I was at one time an ordained Pentecostal pastor. Long time relationship with the divine. And my worldview now is quite different than it was then. But in the most recent, like 6 years or so, I started a body liberation journey where for me, freedom meant I was no longer going to hate the body that I lived in. I
Hmm.
was no longer going to feel shame or embarrassment or the knee-jerk reaction to be smaller. Now, all of us receive the messaging in our culture that we need to be smaller. That's very pervasive. So for me, freedom means I unlocked that inner dialogue. I canceled it out. I healed it. I transmuted it. Whatever language resonates with you, that's what the fuck I did. I'm not carrying that shit around no more. It makes me feel more free.
Right.
Cascading effect of that was that suddenly I was like, oh my gosh, I feel more spacious in my being because I decided to radically accept what my body, the house I live in, right? My body. And I
Hmm.
wasn't to apply any external standards to how I need to be in the world. What
Mm.
happens once you start getting a little taste of freedom, suddenly I was like, I think I can get more free in these other areas of my life as well. And that's what's been happening. So I did start making art as part of my freedom journey. So when we apply a creative outlet to whatever our issue is, the whatever the thing is that we're trying to get free from, if you apply any kind of creativity to it, it could be
Mm.
writing, journaling, art, it could be literally anything, it could be baking, but you're putting intention of like, I'm getting free from, codependency, what breaking this bread. So there, when we put like a physical action with the healing journey that we're on, it seems to be an accelerator. That's been
Mm.
my
I love that. And I love the idea around finding that creativity component to it because I know for me, I like in some instances, not when it comes to following recipes, I'm terrible at that. Like, I'm just going to put it out there. But certain things in life, I like to have structure, right? Freedom for someone like me, even though, let's be serious, I want it,
Yeah.
but it could be scary because it's like there's no structure behind that. Like, what does this mean for me? Are there rules? Like, what do I do? You know?
Okay. Yes, I do know exactly what you're talking about, because what we are doing when we decide I want to be more free, it means the cultural conditioning that we
Mm,
all participate in, you are aware that in some ways it limits you living as your most authentic self. So you have to do the terrifying thing of being like, I think that centering my own needs is actually more important than the social niceties of
mm,
expectation that exist. And so I'm going to stop buying into that. Right. And it
mm,
does feel risky because we've been indoctrinated with this idea that you have to be A, B, and C in the world as you move through the world. Otherwise, you'll be further marginalized. You'll be an
right.
out. However, what I've learned is the thing that we're afraid of that's so scary, the opposite thing ends up being true. It goes right back to what I said. When we're more authentic, when we like live in an energy of freedom, humans that are meant to be attracted to us actually are attracted to us. We
Mm,
start the kind of people that also want to get free. And so you're not alone. Your relationship circle might adjust. Human beings might leave and make room for more new ones. That does happen. But again, the process is I no longer betray myself
mm,
perception of belonging. I belong to myself more completely and more fully now. And so the other human beings that truly see me for me, those are the ones that start to show up. I'm not pretending in my circle of friends. I don't pretend anymore. I see sometimes,
right.
but it is what freedom looks like. But we have to be willing to do the thing that feels scary, cross that threshold, and then you start to see, my God, I did it. I did the scary thing. And the benefit is how much more spacious all over again your life starts to feel.
Okay. First of all, that is awesome. And I have to kind of like go back to what you were saying in terms of like certain people, you might lose certain people in your life in this on this journey to freedom. And the reason why I wanted to focus on that was because I think that's a lot of what people are scared of is the loss of those connections that you've had for so long, right?
That's a legitimate fear. I mean, there's grief involved in the process.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It's just so wild. 'Cause, and like as you were saying, there were so many things popping in my head. I was like, oh my gosh, yes, the idea of losing people, the idea of not pretending anymore. And it's like that right there too was like, oh my gosh, nugget, major nugget, because I don't know if people are even aware because we've been so conditioned to have this mask on that they are in everyday society pretending, or that it's not that they don't know, but it's a thing of like that it's acceptable to actually be who you are. You know what I'm saying?
I do. When we think about people like out in the world, maybe actors, right, that are so
Right.
often they're being a more free, authentic version of themselves. Do you know what I mean? Who just like you can feel their energy, they don't give a shit. And like, why is that so attractive when someone else is doing it and I'm terrified to do it myself? Right.
Right.
And so it's really interesting that for me, the journey was I have to stop betraying my true self.
Yes.
Those little adjustments, those little things that we're masking, were some of my story was codependency, right? So I would perform generosity and kindness. It's in me to be generous and kindness, but I would do it to my own detriment because I was afraid of losing the connection if I didn't, you know?
Mm,
And so then I became aware of these things, right? Through education and learning and meditation. And so then when I started saying, actually, I am the only one that can meet my needs. It's not
mm,
anyone else's job. It's really my job. I can, from a more healed state, be like, hey, this is a need I have. Are you available to like help me meet it? And sometimes I get a yes, and sometimes I get a no. And if I get a no, I get to say, oh my God, thank you for having boundaries. I don't have to read your mind. I can trust that you're not going to overgive and then resent me. My God, that feels so good. And then the people in my life, they do the same thing back to me when there's a request or a bid for connection. And if I can meet it, then it's the joy of, yay, we get to meet each other in this space. But if I can't meet it, there is the cheerleading of, good job taking good care of yourself. Good job centering yourself in your own fucking life.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And the reason why I'm saying thank you like that, because I feel like this whole idea of boundaries, like I'm just now coming on the scene of boundaries, let's be serious. Because I didn't grow up with boundaries. Like it was just right. It was just a free for all, just however things went. Obviously, like I grew up in a not obviously, but I grew up with parents that were just trying to survive. They were just trying to get their kids through school and trying to work. And so there weren't, conversations around feelings and emotions and okay, this is the boundary for X, Y, and Z. There was no language around that. So at 45, I'm learning that. All that to say, when you were saying that people, well, you have the opportunity to realize that it's up to me in terms of my needs. And if
Right.
someone says no, it's like congratulating that boundary as opposed to being resentful or angry at the fact that that person can't do what you requested.
Right.
And for me, I'm learning that because that's something I struggled with when I would ask someone something like, oh, I can't do it. I'm like, how dare you? Because I would do it for you.
Mhm.
Right? Realizing that everyone's needs are different and everyone's capabilities are different, and that's okay. Would that be a part of this whole idea of like freedom as well?
Yeah, because I stopped betraying myself. I have a no. I have boundaries with myself even, like I recently I wrote on a little card, I refuse to worry, right? A lot of us has worry built into our programming, right? Like our culture is constantly feeding us fear. So I limit what I will expose myself to. And then in my own mind, when there's a temptation to be afraid of something, I do a lot of self-regulation, self-soothing. I go to my network of close friends and I say, hey, I think I need a little support with this. Are you available? If they are, great. If they aren't, I cheer for them and then I take care of it myself because I actually am well resourced now because I created a life where I have lots of rest. I created a life where I have spaciousness. I created a life where my internal space is kind.
Mm.
And so, again, it's been a long journey, but it started with refuse to betray myself. So, as we get good, again, the body liberation was an important part of this because you start to feel feelings in your body instead of just anxiety feelings in your brain. You know the difference when you start to have an emotion, you can isolate in your body. Ooh, this is a burning, tight feeling in my chest,
Yeah.
right? And so what then I will do, I will say, okay, there is a physical sensation in my body that does not feel pleasant to me. But
Mhm.
I believe that it's here in service to me because something, a belief or an old trauma is ready to move through. I'm going
Mm.
to feel this shit so that I can heal it, so I can transmute it, so I can move it through and then be more free from it. And I'm
Wow.
new fucking story. So the story that says, you can't say no to this person that made a request of you, the story says that hurt their feelings, they're going to withdraw, they don't like you anymore. That will have a reaction in my body, right? And so I will say, actually, I love and trust this person and they love and trust me and they appreciate it when I center my needs in my life. That is the new truth about my relationships. So this past fear, I'm going to feel it in my body. I'm not going to allow the story to grab hold of me, right? But this sensation in my body, I'm going to soothe or I'm going to let it get as big as it needs to get. And we
Mm.
just from practice, right? Sometimes you got to move it through. And so that will mean moving your body. That will mean like sometimes it's anger that comes up. And I spent most of my life avoiding anger, right? My family of origin was fucked up, man. No fucking skills from those motherfuckers. So yeah, I had to learn all this stuff. Just you pick it up as you go. But again, if we can get into our body, allow our experiences to be embodied, that is the path to freedom. So then
Mm,
you feel something fully. You either decide, can I soothe this? Does this just want comfort, or does it need permission to get big? Yeah. And sometimes it needs permission to get big. In my story, I'm better at self-soothing by myself, but the permission to get big, I often need a person to help me process it out loud. And then I will let it get as big as it needs to get. And I'll cry and I'll yell and I'll scream, whatever I need to do. That's still new for me. That's still on my learning edge. It's a little uncomfortable, but I'm doing it. The more I do it, the more free I feel. And then
mm.
less toxic stories attached to just how it feels when you navigate your life and you have to make this choice or that choice or this choice or that choice. I've learned what it means to live every day without betraying myself.
Kat, like, I need you, like, just to be in my world all day, every day, because serious, this whole idea around just the idea of freedom and feeling the emotions, that to me, like I said, because I'm just like, I'm on that journey as well, like really just trying to understand what I need in certain sense in certain situations. Do I, like you said, do I need to let it get big? Do I need to soothe myself in terms of regulation, whatever? It's so foreign, but at the same time, I'm doing my best, I guess. But it's just so overwhelming at the same time. And I think for those who might be on that journey, or maybe are like, okay, I need to get on this journey. Would this be something that would be beneficial to work out through therapy, or would you say a trusted friend? Both? Like like I don't know. I know
Yeah.
everyone's different, but like, would this be something that you would consider with like a therapist, or like
Yeah.
what would you say?
Okay, here's what I think. I think all of us have a resonance or attraction to any number of healing modalities.
Mm,
I have actually just started offering to do spiritual midwifery, which is like you're saying, like I would be your person and I charge by the month. And then so there's once a week meetings, but then I'm available by text. I'm available on like a video chat system so that when you're having a moment that it's coming up, right? I don't think our healing happens like clockwork on that, like the more rigid therapist schedule. So the
mm.
model that I use is a lot more relational forward and scheduling is a little looser. The reason why I do that is because I love how it feels to get my hands dirty, midwife, right? And say, we are birthing the new you. And the birthing pains are real fucking birthing pains. And when you hit that point of transition, like you do in childbirth, you believe, my God, I can't do this. That's what transition. And then it's time to push. And when you get to the point where you're able to like lean into what the universe is accomplishing in your life and lean into the healing that's happening, it can be really helpful to have a midwife there, you know? And if someone's not going to reach out to me and say, will you work with me, Catherine, then who is the person in your life that feels safe to try this with? Or what's the healing modality that you in your body just feel attracted to? What's a little bit shiny? It could be breath work. It could be meditation. It could be your local church. Like there's no wrong way to get in your body and surround yourself with people that are emotionally mature enough to hold space for you while you just simply feel and honor your feelings. You feel and honor the human experience.
I am rarely speechless, but I'm just like, wow, seriously,
Yeah.
because well, one, I'll come back to that, but because I'm just like, wow, but the idea of just being in your body, I'm learning that as well, and I think for some people that might be new.
Yeah.
Like, what are you talking about, Kat?
Yeah. Alicia, of course it's new. Again, our culture has extricated us from our physical forms
Hmm.
by oppressing bodies, right? We love oppressing bodies. We love capitalism, white supremacy, colonialism, all that has told us your body is for labor.
Mm,
That's a fucking lie. Talk about getting free. As soon as we stop equating our self-worth with our productivity, huge amounts of freedom. As soon as we reclaim rest in our goddamn life, huge amounts of freedom, right? As soon as we can free ourselves from the constant lie of scarcity, do you
mm.
know how fucking free we're going to be? my God, it feels aspirational. I'm getting there. I'm working hard on that one, right?
Yeah.
Because our physical bodies are magic. Okay. I think of us as consciousness having a human experience. The point of being alive is to be alive in this human body.
Mm.
Really fucking fun as shit. If you have this awareness that in some other expression of yourself, of your being, of your soul, that you are a spirit, formless spirit of energy. But because it would be so cool to like taste a cheeseburger, you decided to incarnate and experience the density of what we're experiencing here, right? And to relate to every situation from your own unique vantage point. There is no one exactly like you, Alicia. The more free you get from all the programming that just exists in our culture, right? Our society as it has organized itself through systems of oppression mostly, those things imprint on us, right? But the goal in this life is to be the most you can be. You're radiant, and we actually need you. We need you to be the most you can be. That's the gift you offer us, all of humanity, just being the most authentic you in the world. It started getting really clear to me that like my journey started in the fat liberation space. So I spent a lot of time there, but it started to expand beyond the confines of that. Like my freedom is not just about I'm allowed to live in a fat body and not feel shame, right? My freedom is, my God, I have to get as free as I can possibly get, because not only does it benefit me and it feels good to be free and authentic, it means that other people will see my life and believe that they can get free. That's
But
what we all need. The whole world needs you to get free. It needs me to get free, and I'm doing my best.
yeah, I mean, I'm literally in tears right now because when as soon as you brought up that whole idea of like the productivity, it just it just hit me hard because I grew up in this mindset of if I wasn't producing something, if I wasn't like working hard, I was nobody.
Right.
Like I was nobody. And
Right.
if I can't show you or whoever all these things that I'm doing, then what's the point of life?
Yeah.
Right? Recently, well, not really recently, I get the past few months, my body has been rejecting productivity in ways that is scary.
It is scary.
And I'm working on a program that my body's just like, we don't have to barrel through all this right now. You have the opportunity to work through this and rest. And obviously, the work that I'm going to be doing with this program, it's all about people, and their well being. So, like, why am I going to kill myself
Right.
to put together something? Like, I need to be the example, you
Yeah.
know?
Yes,
Thank
I
you for
do
that.
know. I do know. I have had to rest and rest and rest. And sometimes I get antsy. Like, seriously, fuckers, I've rested more than anyone I fucking know. I got to do something in the world. And they're like, just keep resting. It's so funny. When we live in our body, we're deeply embodied, then the information we're getting is literally from our body. So are you tired? Then you need rest.
Mm,
And conversation,
mm,
right? So what happens when we do that is, again, we start shedding these programs, right? All of the messages, and it comes from everywhere. Some of it's locked in our DNA. A lot of us are healing ancestral shit. We're the mess of eons of beings that existed before us because we can. Literally, just because we can, we're doing it, right? And then you've got, again, the cultural stuff. You've got your immediate family of origin and the dynamics that you picked up in your own childhood, right? There's tons of stuff for us to heal and clean up, right? And everyone in this collective sense, right? All of like feels to me that all of creation, all of existence is cheering for us, is
mm.
really excited that many people are choosing to get free. And being disillusioned with the status quo is part of the freedom journey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that you brought up the whole idea that the whole like all of creation is cheering for this idea of freedom
Yeah.
because really like the more that go on this journey, the more I realize how everything is connected.
Right.
I've always thought of things animals, whatever. This table, I'm like, I just always thought everything was like separate, and like humans, we were kind of like on our own little whatever, and we just kind of like run the shit. But then you realize that's not true, you know?
It feels better to me to be a piece of the whole,
Mhm.
right? And then once it clicks into your head, like, so we're all a part of this elaborate tapestry, or sometimes the puzzle image is even more effective. So we're all part of this really elaborate, beautiful puzzle, right? The puzzle has light and dark, like the yin yang, it's both. And the only way for it to fit together in a harmonious way is for your fucking piece to be all the way present. If it's dim because of programming, because you couldn't get free, if it's going to be hard to fit it in where it really goes, right?
Mm.
If your like edges are not clean, they're like, sticky and mucky. No, we drop everything that isn't actually us. And then as we become radiant. It's fascinating. The very thing that we're afraid of turns out to be the opposite is true, which is a weird ass mind fuck. But I
Right.
keep having that experience over and over again. So I love cheering for other people who are getting free, because parts of it can feel terrifying. Healing our trauma means feeling the stuff that I couldn't feel when I was a child. In the moment, I had to experience terror. But as I was sort of purging these big emotions that only came up because I was healed enough to feel them, it was a span of minutes, maximum 10 minutes of feeling terrified and crying and upheaval, right? Now, people will spend their whole life trying to avoid that fucking 10 minutes.
Wow.
No, please don't do it. Please. It's worth it to feel the feelings, right? It's easier if you can find a support person. Please reach out to me, hire me. I love this shit, right? But it doesn't matter who it is. You could even just like call in a spirit guide or whatever supernatural connection to the divine feels good to you. Like maybe you got like an angel or an archangel, or maybe it's Jesus fucking Christ. I love Jesus fucking Christ, fucker.
Right. I love it.
He's gonna show up. We're not alone in this. So
Mm.
what I'm saying is, it's a little easier when you have a physical person that's been through it. That's just the truth of it. But it's not impossible to do it without that person. But also when you set the intention of I want help for this, help's going to show up. It's going to show up perfectly for you. You just put that intention out there. It's going to show up. You want to engage, you want to heal, you want to feel your shit, you want to
Right.
be free, just let the universe know. Watch what happens.
I love it. And I love your enthusiasm behind it. Like, because I feel like if there's more like positivity like shed on this, I think that allows people to feel like, oh, okay, yes, like I sign me up. I want to do this. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah.
But go ahead. Sorry.
Well, you start to feel it in your, again, it's the whole body for me, always over and over again. You start to have this unction, right? That you just kind of can't drop.
Mm.
And that's the gift to you. That means you're free enough to want to be more free, right? You're in touch enough to know that you are going to actively participate in the journey of awakening.
Wow.
You can not actively participate. So if you zoom out pretty far, you are into astrology stuff. Like we've just entered a new season. Like Pluto is stationed in the sign of Aquarius. And from what I understand, I don't know a ton about astrology, but I'm enjoying learning more about it. So what I understand is this begins a new 20-year era um, of human consciousness and the evolution that the planet, and then all of us humans on the planet, again, we're all part of the whole. If you look back in history, you can see moments of like, like the Enlightenment era or the Dark Ages. There's the revolutions that have happened, and so you can feel it. There's a lot of energy stirred up right now in a global way. And so it feels really true and resonant that we're on a precipice. And I would say the precipice is that we're in this state of global collective awakening. And it's
Mm.
going to bring us all eventually. But if you decide that you're like, I want to actively participate, that just means being a little more conscious, a little more like in our body, and actively showing up for yourself
Mm.
and participating with what's there. Feel the feelings, allow them to move through, Go to the next one.
I
Yep.
love that. Well, I want to go back because you brought up the whole idea of the yin and yang. There's the light and the dark. And the reason why I wanted to go back to that was because, and maybe it's just me, but I was just thinking, some people might think, because I was thinking, oh, I wonder if this is something that people are thinking on this road or this journey to freedom. Do we address that darkness? And
We do.
is that something that we will that eventually go away, or are we going to celebrate the fact that we do have light and dark in who we are as a person? You know what I'm saying?
So I think it's the latter, right? So when you zoom out really far, you can get this like in Buddhist teachings, right? Um, the zoomed out understanding that the light and the dark are in play together. They're in relationship together. We're not villainizing the dark. If you look at the yin yang, there's a white dot in the dark side, there's a black dot in the white side. It's because that's what balance looks like. So when we befriend our dark, our shadow, when we do shadow work or even trauma work, what we're doing is we're healing something. We're making space for us to be fully human, expressing any parts of ourselves anymore. And so, a lot of this for me has happened in meditation where like I'm having to confront my own shadow side, which means again, I spent years as a Christian Pentecostal person. And so we were indoctrinated with this idea that we had to like basically suppress anything that was dark. I mean, you're running away from it.
Right.
But that's in my healing journey, in my freedom journey, that hasn't been effective. That's been an imbalance. I'm not grounded if I deny and suppress my own dark. It's like you can be like a little bit over, you can be light and love but not be grounded, and then it starts to have like a dissonance. It doesn't feel good.
Mm.
So the healing journey includes the grief. It means you feel everything, right? And so when as a femme person, as a person born in a female body, my monthly cycle means that I am more weepy, and I cry and I get irritable, and so I stop chiding myself for that very human experience. It's part of having a human body. There's discomfort in my body and it wears at me. So I'm a little more irritable, right? And so what I need is a little more care and gentleness for myself and more space so I fucking take it, right?
Mhm.
Try to suppress. I'm getting a lot better at it. I'm no longer suppressing that lived experience. And then when something happens and it flares anger, that's almost like a big fucking win for me, because I suppressed anger for almost all of my life. Because in my family of origin, it was dangerous and scary. And then I had all that Christian indoctrination that was like, that's a bad thing. Don't do that, you
Right.
know? But no, we do that. We just find a way to channel it. We're not perpetuating harm. We're simply not denying a truth about existing.
Mm.
Anger is the recognition that a boundary's been crossed. So I feel my whole feeling, and then I adjust boundaries. Do I need to better enforce a boundary? Yes, often I do. Then I do that. And sometimes there's a growth edge and it's uncomfortable and they gotta do this hard thing. But I will not fucking abandon myself anymore.
Right.
Enforce the
I,
boundary.
I I love that. And the thing is, like, it's like I'm constantly hearing in my head, but what about the night? Like, we were brought up to be nice, but
Yeah.
being nice and being kind, I'm realizing are two different things.
Yeah, fuck nice. It doesn't feel good in my body to be artificially nice. Now, I'm an extremely warm, loving person. It is who I am. I also, in my circle of friends, I'm like obnoxiously optimistic and like fucking sunshiny. It's part of me, right? However, the most kind thing I can be is to tell you my whole truth, because I care enough about a relationship with you that I will not pretend with you. So
Mm.
done something that has impacted me negatively or hurt something, and I'm afraid that it's going to cause me to withdraw from the connection. The kinder thing is to allow myself and invite you to be a little uncomfortable so that we can right away adjust, right? Or I
Hmm.
put up a boundary that says, oh, that was no bueno. And it doesn't even have to be a big deal.
Right.
So yeah, someone a long time ago was making jokes that were like self-deprecating. And I was like, I don't like that. Like, that's just not the kind of humor that I like. So like, that we're not going to have that kind of like humor together. Like, that's just not going to work, right?
Right.
And so it can be like a light adjustment, but the point is that I'm not going to laugh at a joke that feels dissonant. I'm not going to pretend when there's dissonance. I will just own it without turning it into a big dramatic thing. I will just own it, let you in on it if I think that that's appropriate or necessary, or just adjust some boundaries internally.
Mm.
Isn't that interesting?
It is because, like I said, I grew up. Oh, it's so complex. I don't know if you had this type of experience too, but like my mother was the type of person, like she was no nonsense, but at the same time she would tell me. I don't know about my siblings because they're a lot older than me, so I almost grew up like like an only child. But she had this no nonsense, persona, but at the same time, it was just thinking like you have to be nice. So I was always conflicted with that, but I kind of like stuck to the nice like parts of it because I thought, okay, this will get me where I need to go if I'm nice and I present like I everyone likes me type
Right.
of thing. Then later on, I realized a lot of that was like to my detriment in a lot of ways, So, like I said, this whole idea of like getting this all together in my head and like I guess unlearning that, it's just a process that I'm just trying to like make sense of. If that makes sense.
It does. It does. And we can unlearn it with gratitude because it serves us until it doesn't.
Mm.
Pleasing served the shit out of me until it stopped, right? Until I actually was ready to heal it. That's the interesting thing, like, so my family of origin, there was plenty of trauma that happened there, but you learn how to get the skills you need to get the fuck out, right?
Mm.
Navigate forward. So those learned behaviors are in service because we got out, right? We navigated till this point. Now we can go a step further and actually heal the stuff that we couldn't heal because we were just a small person back then, right? This is where we go from I learned these survival skills and I'm surviving to I am a whole ass motherfucker and I am fully living now. There's this great quote that's floating around the internet saying, I'm not healing so that I can bear having been traumatized. I'm healing so that I can bear to experience joy. Yeah,
Yes.
it does feel joyous to tell our whole truth without apology, to exist without apology. And then we fall in love with these things that are like I kind of teasingly said that I'm like kind of like a rosy, sunny, optimistic person, and I actually really enjoy that about myself. The people who love me enjoy that about me, right? It's not performative. In the past it has been on occasion, right? But this is just the authentic me. But that's not for everyone. I'm sure I know the shit out of people.
I love that.
Yeah. And see, that's the thing. I did this so I am my own biggest fan. I have this safe space in here. So I don't need to appeal to everyone.
Mm.
It's irrelevant. I appeal to me. I found
Mm.
me. I love me. I am more and more me. Even on the days that I'm like, I have to feel the angry feelings today and I don't like this because that's my learning edge, right? That's the harder part, the shadow of like, I'm going to love the Catherine who's irritable as fuck. My kids do. My kids love me when I'm irritable. Isn't that interesting? I
Mm.
let them be irritable. I still love them, right? It's messy and it's so beautiful. It's like the most wonderful miracle just to be alive when you give yourself permission to exist as you are and you drop more and more of the programming that said be this way, you are this way, think this way.
I, I like my heart is just like expanding because that was something for a long time for me that I was so worried that if I was my true authentic self, like the irritability, like whatever, whatever showing up that I was suppressing because I was worried that if I showed that to people, they would leave,
Yeah.
and now being married now and seeing and like and I am actually so happy in the marriage that I'm in because my wife, like I am just myself with her. And this is like the first time I've actually been like this in a relationship.
Yeah.
And then realizing, okay, I can do all these things.
Yeah.
and she still loves me. Same with
Yeah.
my daughter. It's like this is okay. The
Yeah.
permission to be me is okay. Wow, who knew?
Yeah.
It's wild.
It is. And then the more we get to just embrace that, we can be in on the joke of it too. Like, funny how fast I can switch to just laughing at myself when I'm so fucking irritable now. When I stop resisting it and I feel shame for it and I'm trying to get it to go away, when I'm just like, no, I'm just such an irritable asshole right now. And then think how funny that is, right? And so there's this levity, this lightness. Is levity the right word? Lightness? I
Yeah,
think,
I think so.
yeah.
We'll
So
go with it. We'll go with it until someone tells us not to.
opposite of levity, I don't remember. But anyway, it feels so fun to allow the experience of being human to be as wide as it possibly can be. And then when we're having an experience that maybe isn't our preference, we can like zoom out briefly and just laugh at how funny it is. Like, yeah, like I was just doing something and I got like annoyed. I think I was driving and like someone like cut me off in a way and it sort of annoyed me. And I was like, ha, I just got annoyed. It's so funny, but like I am allowed that expression of a human experience. I'm allowed that. And I think, again, talking about the light and the dark, I spent way over half my life not allowing myself. All the
Mm,
mess I had received was you are not allowed to feel those feelings. They are dangerous and they will fuck up your shit and they will fuck everything up. So that took a long time for me to unearth. And now I'm like, I'm allowed to be a messy bitch sometimes. But why not? I'm allowed.
right.
Not the core all of me. It's a tiny expression of being a human in a human body sometimes, right?
Oh, no, I love that. Hold on one second. I'm losing power. Hold on a second. Oh, there we go. I just heard it. I don't know if you heard that.
Okay.
Okay. No, my computer was like on the fritz. I was like, yikesy. No, I love what you just said because I actually, when I think about that whole idea around like growing up in the church
Hmm.
and suppressing certain feelings because it was a sin,
Right.
like that really resonated with me because like you can't be angry because that's like basically a part of the devil,
Yeah.
right? So don't do it. And to know that I can be liberated in that way and say, hey, this is all of me and
Right.
it's okay. And this is that whole idea of religion. I mean, whatever. I mean, I'm not knocking anyone in terms of their beliefs, but in terms of like showing up as your true authentic self, it's just so it's a thing where I'm like I said, I'm still learning that.
Yeah.
And at the same time, I'm also I don't know how to say this, but I'm also in a place where I'm realizing a lot of things that I learned were just not even true, and I still feel bad about it. Does that
Yeah.
make you like?
Yeah.
Did you go through that?
Yes. I mean, it's very resonant with me what you're describing. So that's why, again, the bedrock of my practice and my journey has been a self-compassion practice. I had to really learn how to go deep and like constantly offer myself self-compassion. Now that can take some time to establish, um, or maybe it goes fast for certain people. It depends. Like we're all a little different, but I have noticed that as we go through this healing journey, it makes everything easier if we start with, I will always be nice to myself.
Mm,
I will always offer myself grace. I will believe that in any given moment, I'm just doing my best. All of us are actually, right?
mm,
And so those voices that are not really yours, that are shouting other things, one by one, you bring them into conversation with you. I actually like to personify them. I create like this spacious, beautiful room inside my heart, inside my body, and then I open the door. I think there's a Rumi poem that talks about this, right? You open the door to everything, you personify it, and you're like, what does fear look like? And you
mm,
just have a conversation with this fear or like this critical voice, like, what does it look like? What does criticism look like? And they'll come in and you'll have a conversation with them. You'll see how quickly just engaging them will allow them almost, if you're using your imagination while you do this, they will take on a different appearance after you've been engaging them for just a short time. And so When we are open to having the full breadth of human experience, the things that we would call like low densities, right? Even in spiritual communities, they're like, only light and love, fuckers. I'm like, that's out of balance, motherfuckers. So, a low density emotion, I think the low density part is the resistance to it. If you know, and again, the resistance and the suppression, right? So I have this flash of anger and I resist and I suppress it. And then it never leaves my form. It gets lodged into my body somehow. And that is a density. Now, I have a flash of anger. I feel it. I let it get as big as it needs to get. I'm like emboldened. I'm like, I'm extremely angry. I'm allowed to be angry. I'm a full human. I have permission to live my whole authentic experience. It includes this anger. And then it's moved through. It has enough space in my energy field. I didn't suppress it. It's not like buried in me. It's not in me anymore because I didn't resist it.
Right.
So if we can meet all of our authentic experiences with the non-resistance, with the like lavish, abundant acceptance, let everything come in. And then we apply boundaries because it's easy to get overwhelmed in this process. You're like, I can do one a day, motherfuckers. You're allowed to have boundaries with yourself, inner space, with your trauma journey. Totally.
Wow.
One a week. You set the pace. It's really all up to you. We're not victims. We're not. No, we're very powerful. We can heal literally everything. I don't know if I told you guys this on the last time we did the podcast. My physical body is healing.
Wow.
Healing. I used to live in a lot more pain. I was assigned a chronic illness diagnosis years ago, and my mobility was becoming more and more limited. And I did all this work around ableism, and I was like, I get to live in my full dignity regardless of how much mobility I have. And even if I live with some physical pain, I'm going to fucking choose joy. That's how powerful I am. Well, I also, it turns out, am powerful enough to like clear enough of my trauma, enough of this shit, and to do the next thing that feels shiny. Like, what's the healing modality that feels the most shiny to me? I would just do the next thing that felt like, ooh, I just really want to do this thing. And then last spring, I had this really powerful, like physical healing where suddenly the extreme seizing pain that I would experience after standing for about 5 minutes, it stopped happening.
Wow.
Then I had to like retrain my brain to realize I'm actually not in pain anymore. So like my brain and my body was like preemptively kind of tensing up because after I'd walked for, maybe 5 or 10 minutes, I'd be like, when's it going to happen? When's it going to happen? And I'd be like, no, Catherine, it healed. So now we get to live in this reality where we walk and there's not that seizing pain. Isn't that cool? But I still had my brain after the healing.
I love that. And I don't know if we talked about that in the last podcast episode, but I don't know if I told you, I have multiple sclerosis. And when I was first diagnosed, I had a neurologist, basically telling me that like I had to get on medication, I had to do all these things. And all that to say, I was diagnosed in 2010, I think, and I don't take medication, any of that stuff. And I mean, I take supplements and I do things to like, manage it as much as possible. But then when I really started working on all the things that we're talking about now as well, so many things have really started healing in my body. And I think a lot of chronic illnesses, and I say all, I'm not, and everyone's situation is different. So please take care of yourself in the way that you need to. Talk to your healthcare provider. I want to put that disclaimer out there. Please and thank you. But all that to say, for me, in my body, the healing that has taken place when I have started living in my truth and really being honest with who I am as a person and with others, it has drastically changed how my body presents in the world.
Yeah. Same.
It's wild.
It is. It's beautiful too. And it emboldens me and it makes me feel like, oh, we really are quite powerful. And again, everyone's journey is different. There's some kind of thoughts out there, teachings where people are like, if you chose to incarnate, I like the idea that we chose to incarnate. it makes me feel really empowered in the experience of being a human, right? And so there's this idea that consciousness chose different themes. So for my life as Catherine, I chose some themes, right? And I think one of my main themes is healing, and I think the other one is freedom. Um, I was very tentative about it at different points in my life. Like it felt like I'm not allowed to ask for that, right? But no, turns out it's very fun to live in a healed body. It's very fun to be more and more free. It makes the experience of being a human really pleasurable. And so why wouldn't I actively pursue that? Right. But it took me a while to heal enough just in my mindset, right? Because there was that a lot of the play small, be small, don't be prideful, don't be so haughty, all that bullshit, right? One thing I love about rappers and rap music is how they're like, I'm the biggest motherfucker around. People are doing that and we're attracted to that. We fucking love that, you know? Like I like Janelle Monáe. Like she has a lot of music that's like I'm like I'm fucking awesome, and you're like yeah you are. And so like why can't we apply that? We can actually. We just got to decide to do it. So you write your own fucking song. I am incredible at healing. I'm extremely good at it. I'm so good at it. I want you to pay me to help you. I'm amazing at it. It's so fucking fun to me.
I love that. And the thing is, now I'm like, okay, please. So tell us about the work that you're doing
Yeah.
in terms of like helping people, like through, so basically like through their trauma, through just general emotions.
Yeah.
What's
Well,
happening, Kat?
really unique to each person. So here's another thing I learned about myself. I have as I've healed. So let's look at a human being. Imagine like a 3D rendering of a human body, right?
Mhm.
Watch it fill itself in with like the DNA programming and the social conditioning, and then you know, all these other like patterns and things, right? We were kind of like muddied up from our most essential self, right? And so one by one, we just start dropping stuff that no longer serves us. So then we become like this clearer channel to the divine or the universe or whatever feels resonant with you, right?
Right.
So I have done enough healing and clearing and trauma work and all that stuff, shadow work, to be a pretty clear channel now. So what that means is when I meet with someone one-on-one, I help discern with them what their journey is. You would tell me what's going on in your life, and I would just help midwife that with you.
Mm,
I do charge by the month because I don't think this happens in one go. I don't want it to be a one and done. I want to enjoy, for me, the pleasure of watching how you transform over the course of 4 weeks, right, or longer. I'm happy to work with people for longer,
right.
but I don't work with people for shorter amounts of time, and that's just because um I think that, again, I'm using the midwifery model, and I chose to have both of my kids with a midwife because I even 15 years ago, I just had this notion that I could trust my body to do what my body was made to do.
Mhm.
And so I chose not to like use painkiller drugs, right? Which, again, if someone makes the other choice, that's totally fine. It's just, for me, I wanted that experience. I wanted to
Right.
know what my body could do. And so the midwife is different than the doctor in the hospital. The
Right.
midwife at my home. The midwife met with me, and we talked all about what was going to happen in the birthing process. And I got to own all my power. I didn't abdicate it to a medical professional. And so that's what I am actually really good at. So I'm really good at meeting with people and helping them access their own power, discern what's coming up for them, and then to hold space like a midwife would. And then you start to you start to enter into these labor pains, and it feels really, really good to have someone calmly hold your hand and cheer for you. So
Mm.
that's what I like to do. And then the beauty of it is I've created a life for myself where I have a lot of flexibility. And so when we'll have a scheduled meeting once a week, but if something is showing up for you, on a Thursday and our meeting's not till Monday, you can text me. And if I have time, I'm going to be like, yeah, let's bring this new you into the world. Here's an important thing about that. Someone else's pain and suffering does not dysregulate me anymore because I heal
Mm.
my own. Now, I've had people hold space for me who hadn't done enough trauma work. And so it dysregulated them. It scared the shit out of them for me to feel big feelings. And so I still was able to clear what I needed to clear. It was helpful to have a human, present, but it's better. It's more helpful when the human holding space for you is not dysregulated by your experience. It's just able to cheerlead and to remind you that there's an other side of this. And then the new, freer you is so beautiful that I really love being part of that journey.
Oh my gosh, that sounds amazing.
Yeah.
And so for those who would want to like do this work with you, would they just contact you through
Yeah.
like social media? Like how would they contact you?
Yeah. So the easiest way would just be DMing me on either TikTok or on Instagram. And so it's the same handle for both. Kat Max is free. You can put my email in the show notes and people can reach out to me that way. Right now, I'm charging $500 a month, which
Okay.
again, you're getting a lot more support than the 4 weeks. You're getting 4 1-hour calls with some flexibility and then unlimited text. And then there's a video messaging element that's available if people like it. Yeah, but I'm really excited about it.
Listen, that is amazing because I know so many people would love to have that type of support
Yeah.
in place.
And I understand that, again, like finances that may not feel like accessible to everyone. And so if there's a unique situation and you feel like, Catherine, I feel really drawn to work with you specifically, then I love to be like, let's be creative. You want to do a trade? What do you got? What do you want to do? What do you
Right.
offer? So I'm really open to that. I think that the new economy that we're moving towards is more of a trades economy, right? Eventually we'll move farther enough away from the capitalistic system that it's not, all like little digitized numbers going from your Venmo to my Venmo to your Venmo to my Venmo. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Yeah.
And so it feels really beautiful to have the freedom to be like, it doesn't have to be money, but I had to heal a lot of my scarcity stuff and my money journey. And my family of origin, we were like the working poor, and it took me a long time to realize that I can be charged for the magic that I bring to the world. So that's what I started doing. Yeah.
I love that. And that was something we talked about before. It's like that's something I'm still working on myself
Yeah.
in terms of just receiving money or whatever in terms of services I can offer
Right.
because it's hard. I didn't
Yeah.
realize how hard it was until I started really working into the entrepreneurial world. I was like, I have a lot of stuff I got to work through.
Yeah, I had to do it with my art shop too, right? Like pricing my artwork felt like a challenge at first too. And then I got a little more comfortable. And at one point it felt appropriate to raise my fees for, the art. And I was like, whoa, that's amazing. Because it felt so different in my body. Like I didn't feel conflicted about actually what I am providing is I'm going to sell it at this higher price point. So it's still affordable. Like you can still get a print for
She's like, I'm not breaking the bank. Hello.
Yeah.
I love it. Oh my gosh, Kat, I could talk to you all day. Like you are just amazing.
Thank
Thank you
you.
so much
You're
for taking the time to come on the podcast. You are beyond a blessing. So thank you so much.
Thank you. I have so much love and gratitude in my heart for you, Alicia. Thank you for who you are and your own journey and the radiance you bring to the whole, to the collective. Thank you.
Thank you, y'all. I will share all of Kat's information in the show notes. Thank you so much again. And y'all, thank you for listening to this week's episode of the E2Me podcast. I'll see y'all next week. Kat, you are the best. Thank
Yes.
you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.